What if the reason you struggle to stay consistent with your health didn't start with your habits? What if it started years ago? I really want you to sit with that for a second because most people think their issue is discipline. They think, I just need to try harder. I just need to be more consistent. But what if that's not the full story? Here's something most people don't think about. 61% of adults have experienced at least one adverse childhood experience, with 16% experiencing at least four more. So before you beat yourself up, before you label yourself as inconsistent or unmotivated, we need to look at what may have shaped you long before you ever try to eat healthy or even start working out. Now, you may hear the term ACEs, and that stands for adverse childhood experiences, but that's just a technical term for what most of us will call childhood trauma. Now, let's be clear. When people hear the word trauma, they think it has to be something extreme, but that's not always the case. It can include things like physical, emotional, or sexual abuse. Maybe it's neglect or growing up in a home with divorce or separation, being around domestic violence, or having a parent or family member who's dealing with mental health issues or substance abuse. For a lot of people, this was just normal life. There was no moment where you stopped and said, this is trauma. It was just what you experienced. And this matters because it's because your body and your mind don't just forget those experiences. They adapt to them. They learn from them. So now as an adult, you're trying to build healthy habits, but you're doing it with patterns that were created a long time ago. And this is where I want you to really see yourself in this because this shows up in ways people don't always recognize. For some people, food becomes comfort. It became the thing that you could rely on when something else felt unpredictable. So now when life gets stressful, your body naturally goes back to that. Not because you don't know better. No, that's not it. It's because that's what worked before. Now for others, you may struggle with consistency. You start strong, you're motivated, you're doing all the things, and then something happens and you fall off. And it's not just about missing a workout. Mm-mm. It feels bigger than that. It feels like, here I go again. And that feeling can be tied to experiences where things felt out of control. Now, for some of you, you go all in, you push hard, you feel like you have to be perfect because somewhere along the line, you learned that being good enough wasn't good enough. So you try to earn it through your body, through your habits, through your results. And when you grow up in stressful or an unstable environment, your body adapts. It learns how to survive. Your stress response becomes more sensitive. So now, even when there's no real danger, your body can still react like there is. Now, how does this look? This shows up as feeling constantly stressed or overwhelmed, having low energy, even when you're trying to do the right things, emotional eating, struggling to stay consistent, being extremely hard on yourself no matter what you accomplish. And then we turn around and say, I just need to be more disciplined. When in reality, your body is doing exactly what it is trying to do. And I need you to hear this part. This is not about blaming your past. This is about understanding it. Because if you don't understand what's driving your behavior, you'll keep trying to fix the surface and then wondering why it's not sticking. Now, a lot of people are frustrated with their health journey because they're treating it like it's just about food and workouts when it's not. Your habits don't exist in isolation. They're connected to your experiences, to your environment, to your emotions, to your belief about yourself. So if your belief is, I always fall off, or I can't stay consistent, or this is just how I am, that didn't just come out of nowhere. That was built over time. So what do you actually do with this? Because awareness is great, but you need something that you can actually use. And I want you to start here first. I want you to start paying attention to your patterns. Not just what you're doing, but when you're doing it. When you fall off, don't just say, "Ugh, I messed up." Ask yourself, hmm, what was I feeling? What was going on that day? What triggered that decision, right? The second, I want you to start separating your past from your present. Just because something shaped you, that does not mean it gets to control you. You can acknowledge where it came from. Sure. You can do that without letting it dictate what's going to happen next. And third, give yourself some grace. That is my favorite word. But also keep your expectations realistic. Because if you've been operating a certain way for years, you're not going to undo that overnight. You're just not. But you can start shifting it one decision at a time. And at the end of the day, your past may explain your habits, but it does not have to define your future. You're not stuck, but you do have to be willing to look deeper. Not just at what you're doing, but why you're doing it. Because when you understand that, you stop fighting yourself and you start working with yourself. And that's when things actually begin to change.